Welcome back to Portable Power Repair Secrets. Today we have 3 portable power packs with compressor issues. So the air compressor is not working. We have a DieHard. This is a model 1150. We have a Stanley 500 amp already quite a bit disassembled. And we also have a generic 3-in-1 light flash air compressor. This one's also been quite a bit disassembled. So we're going to talk about what caused these units to fail, see if we can fix them. We've had quite a few comments requesting air compressor repair videos on these portable power packs. So let's start with my DieHard. Now the story on this, my wife had a flat tire on her Subaru not too far from home. It was a rainy day, and I thought if we could just get enough air back into that tire, we could drive it back home and I could work on it the following day. When the weather cleared, I could do it right in my own driveway. So I went out to rescue her. This had been in the car for years, sitting in the trunk. We went to use it. It did not work. So why did this fail? So I took it apart. Here's the compressor from it. Made a lot of noise. It just didn't do anything. And the reason hardly any air was coming out of this air chuck is that the gauge was connected through a T. And you can see the little fitting on this T to which the gauge should have been attached broke off. Now, how did that happen? I'm thinking when we pulled this cable out of the compartment on the back of the case, it must have stretched the gauges locked into the case, so there wasn't really any room, any stress relief. When this was pulled, look at that. It just snapped off. The little nipple that went in there snapped right off. And that is why this failed, because the moment you put pressure, this was snapped into the tire, trying to blow up the tire. Air took the path of least resistance, and the path of least resistance was right out that hole. So to fix this, you would need a new T-fitting. I don't have one of these. We can measure it, but I don't have a T-fitting. I also don't have the tool to crimp these metal connectors. They sell these tools and these connectors. They're quite expensive. Would this work? I don't know. And I'm not going to pay $108 to find out. So there's another problem that I noticed. I don't know if the camera is going to show the pin in there. There's a pin in this tire chuck. And that pin is designed to depress the Schrader valve so that air can transfer from here into your tire. So for that pin to work, to depress the plunger on the Schrader valve, it has to be perfectly straight. I'm looking at, I don't know if this shows it, but it's crooked. So when you're trying to snap this into your tire, instead of depressing the plunger on the Schrader valve, it goes off to the side. And it doesn't make a good connection. So you would also need to replace this tire chuck, because the tire chuck is junk. So this whole thing is what we call a one and done appliance. But in my case, I didn't even get one use out of it. And the only way to have fixed this would have been with an all new cable. I don't know. It's going to go in the trash. All right, what about this Stanley 500 amp? This absolutely no air was coming out of the tire chuck. This is the tire chuck from it. Absolutely nothing coming out of here. Why? It sure was pumping and making a racket. So I took it all apart. And the problem is the piston. This is the piston Here's the cylinder. Piston goes up and down here, and it compresses air. There's only one problem with it. Look at the piston ring, which is the white, this white circle around the piston. It's all chewed up. There's practically nothing on this side. It's made of a, here's where it's ripped right off the side here. It's like a fiber or plasticky washer. It's not a metal piston ring. So this is going up and down, it's making a racket, but it's not compressing any air because the ring is shot. So could it be replaced? Well, there's no split on it. I'm thinking this might be a two-part piston. If you drove out this pin, maybe the top would come off, allowing you to lay a new piston ring on top of this bottom piece. Then you put the top back on and drive the pin in to hold it together. I don't know. I don't know. As far as I know, there are no parts available for these, but that's why it didn't work. Now, the other thing, how long do you think a plastic piston ring would last? How many tires could you fill up with this? Is this also a one-use item? In other words, you get to blow up one tire with it and it's all done? I just don't know. But for that reason, I decided not to fix this. But that's why it was making a racket and no air whatsoever was coming out of this hose. So in this case, we have a bad piston. In this case, now also, I want to say that on this unit, the pressure gauge was attached to the pump. It was not attached to, it wasn't attached halfway through the cable. On this one, we had a broken T-fitting. But not just the broken T-fitting, but we also had a bad tire chuck. So could we have fixed this unit? We couldn't. We would have ended up without the gauge. I was thinking, could we put this on here? This is the good cable from the Stanley. And cable looks okay. Could we have fixed this unit with, but we would have had to deal with this crimp. How could we get this connected here? I put a barb on this. Altogether, also the Stanley had some really badly corroded alligator clips. So between the badly corroded alligator clips, the piston ring that shot on the compressor, limited number of features on this particular model, I cut your losses, decided this was not worth pursuing. Now we have this nice DieHard. So this one also went out to help rescue my wife's car. And here's what happened to it. I tried to put this tire chuck on the valve stem. It broke right off. So one of the things that we're going to talk about right now, I have determined if I were shopping for one of these today, I would not want a plastic chuck. Because the only thing that has worked for me are metal tire chucks. This is called a lock-on type. I would want the screw-on type. And definitely want brass. As far as I'm concerned, this type, not so good. So can we fix this? So Amazon sells these tire chucks. This is the lock-on type. They're pretty cheap. This is similar to what was on there to begin with. This has a really nice pin in the center. I doubt that we would have any trouble with this one, but Amazon also sells a screw-on type. And this is what all your better portable power packs have, a brass screw-on type. If you have a tire emergency out on the road, this is what you want. This is going to work. You screw it onto the valve stem, it does work. That's my experience. And give you a little clamp to hold the hose. I'm not too crazy about that clamp, but let's see if we can get this fixed. Well, the first thing we got to do is cut this old fitting off, because we're never going to wrestle that off. Plus we've got a piece of broken plastic in here. So let's see how far we have to go. I guess that did it. Now, will this go in there, or do we need to lubricate? A little WD-40 probably wouldn't hurt, although, whoops, put the clamp on first. Looks like it's going to go in. Oh, went right in. Okay, so the nut on the clamp is 6 millimeter. It's metric. Get that positioned in the right center. That's about right where it is right now. Okay. All right, let's try it. Okay, so regarding this mystery button on top here, this seems to be a shutoff. When you press down on it, it stops the air from coming out the hose. When you leave it in the up position, air continues to come out. I noticed with this balloon test, the gauge is not showing any pressure rise, but let's try it, see how it works. So, because we didn't see the gauge showing any pressure increase, I'm I guess we have to try this on a tire to see how it works. Okay, so now the moment of truth. I've got my valve, my tire chuck screwed onto the valve stem. It's pretty tight, hand tight. This tire is, I can really compress it. Not much air in that. I just let all the air out. Okay, let's see what we get. Try to watch the gauge. Oh, it is going up. I can feel air in the tire. Gauge is rising. Okay, let's see what we got. Usually I blow these up to about 45 pounds. I guess that would be 25, 30, 35, 45. Perfect. Yep, so it did just as good a job as my shop air compressor. Didn't take very long. That little metal tire chuck worked perfectly. Yeah, I'd say this is all set. So how'd we end up? We have this one fixed literally in a matter of minutes for just a few dollars. I don't remember what these were. I like two for $5 or $6, so $150 power pack fixed for $2 or $3 in literally less than 5 minutes. I'm happy with that. Now note that I wrote 6mm clamp, so I don't have to look this up next time. Now, why did I buy a package of each? Because you often see these at the store, and the first thing you notice is that the air hose is broken, that the tire chuck on the air hose is broken, and I wonder, is that all that's wrong with them? Then we have, so that's what these are for, future repairs. Then we have this one right here. Question, do you think that the piston from this one, which is working, might have been the same size? Could I take this one apart? Would the piston be any better? Would it be exactly the same diameter? Would the rod be the same exact length? Would it have worked? Most likely not. I mean, I guess there's a slight chance it might have worked. Maybe before I trash these, I'll try it. I don't know. Could this have been saved? Well, if you had a new piston for this, and you had carefully photographed how you took everything apart, I know I would have to, I mean, I've cut these wires and things, I'd really have to scratch my head to put this all back together. We could have replaced these clamps. So yeah, it could have been fixed. It actually had a very good battery in it. But I have a better one of these, a much better one of these. That has an inverter in it, and a lot more stuff on it. Digital readout instead of idiot lights. So I'm just, there's so much of this stuff to be rescued. Made a decision, let this one go. And this was a one and done. Even if you fixed it, sometimes it doesn't make sense to fix junk because you still got junk. So that's how we make out today. 33%. We've got this one fixed. We're scrapping this one. We're scrapping this one. If you have air hose problems, you would think that would be a very easy thing to fix. Unless you've got this tool. And you have new hose and new chucks, you're not going to fix this. I'm not anyways. And unless you've got a new piston, we're not fixing this either. But at least we know what was wrong with it. Bad piston ring. Hard to believe it could be as bad as what we're looking at right here. And this one. Bad T-fitting. And the hose to the pressure gauge broke off right here. And all the air escaped from the brake. So I'm happy with this repair. Had no trouble blowing up that wagon tire. I'm sure it would work just as well on an automobile tire. All fixed. Very little effort. Very little money. I think that was very little money. Very well spent. So I hope this helps someone. Thanks for watching.